All right, so now we're going to talk in 7.5, we're going to talk about the mid-segment theorem. And what the mid-segment theorem says is that if you have a triangle and this point B is the middle of this section, so for instance, AB is congruent to BC, so that point B is the middle of that segment. And this particular one here, D, is also the midpoint of CE. So this is congruent to this. So maybe this is 5 and this is 5, but this might be 7 and this is 7. If that is true, if B and D are in the middle of that triangle, then if this is X, this longer side would be 2 times X. So you can use that to figure out some side lengths. So for instance, if I have a triangle like this, and again, it doesn't matter how you draw it out, and you have something like this, and this is J, L, M, N, K, and it tells you that this is 8, and this is 8, and this is 10, and this is 10, and this is 13, and this is X. It's asking you, what is the value of X? Well, the first thing you notice is that this segment and this segment are the same. So that means K must be the midpoint. And this segment and this segment are the same, which means N must be the midpoint. If that's true, this long side has to be 2 times the short side. Well, if I take 13 times 2, that would be 26. So I know X has to equal 26. Now it works in the reverse as well. If I had a triangle and I said, let's say I have a triangle like this, and I knew that this was the midpoint because I knew that this segment equaled that segment and this segment equaled that segment. So it tells you this is the midpoint of the triangle. If I told you this side was 20 and this side was X, how could you find X? Well, remember, the shorter side times 2 has to equal the longer side. So, or another way to say it is the longer side divided by 2 has to equal the shorter side. So just remember, the longer side always has to be the bigger one. So if this is the bigger one, you know it has to be smaller, so you're going to divide by 2. So I'm going to get 20 divided by 2 equals X, or X equals 10. All right, so you can do this actually very quickly. You can just say, all right, I'll give you a few examples. If this is 4, what is this side? Well, of course, it would be 8, right? Because that's the shorter one. The bigger one has to be twice as big. If I said this side was 16, and I wanted to know what this side was, well, it's going to be twice as big, so it'll be 32. If I said the long side is 40, what is the shorter side? Well, now this is the bigger one, so I know this one has to be smaller, so I know I'm going to divide by 2, so this would be 20. So if you have any questions, let me know.